I think this can be more confusing than the layers. Every time I bring up this type of interaction, people tell me that I'm wrong. I'll go ahead and spoil it. Yes, Lier allows you to cast an adventure from the graveyard with flashback, and then that card goes on an adventure and you can cast it as a creature. But how is it that it works? Because we all know that an adventure outside of the stack is only known for its regular characteristics. A card like Archaeomancer can't see the adventure portion in the graveyard because in the graveyard it's only known as its creature portion. And yet somehow Lier allows you to cast the instant portion of that card with flashback from the graveyard. Shouldn't Lier only ever see it as a creature in the graveyard? Let's address this rule real quick. It says in any zone outside of the stack, the card with adventure is only ever its normal characteristics. But if it was the case that it's only ever looked at as a creature in any zone outside of the stack, that would be true for your hand. Your hand is a zone in the game. So if we only ever look at Beanstalk Giant as a creature in the hand, how is it possible that we can look at Fertile Footsteps and then be able to cast that from the hand? I think that's because a lot of people misinterpret how spells are cast in this game, because most people seem to think that the first step to casting a spell is moving that card from where it is onto the stack. Before any of that, there's actually something that needs to be checked before you can even move that spell onto the stack, a step 0 if you will. And that is, a player can only begin to start the spell casting process if the rule or effect allows them to and nothing stops them from doing it. Choosing which portion of an adventure card you want to cast is step 0, this is before you reveal anything to your opponent, and then moving that spell to the stack is the proposal, the first step of casting a spell. That's when you do reveal the card. Even though in the hand we look at this as a creature card, when considering whether we want to cast this card, we can look at the portion of it that isn't the creature card and can cast it without the timing restrictions of the creature portion. Once that portion of the spell is proposed, those are the characteristics that we go with. Okay, fine. When it comes to casting an adventure spell, we can choose which portion we want to cast even though it's a creature. But how is it that Lier's effect can apply to them even though they're considered creatures in the graveyards and not instant and sorceries? This is the rule that allows it, but it's a little bit complicated, so I'll try to break it down. I've only highlighted the portions that are relevant to this interaction, but some rules and effects state that an alternative set of characteristics are considered to determine if a card is legal to cast. The adventure portion of a card is what we consider an alternative characteristic, a characteristic of the card that isn't the main characteristic. This rule says we can consider the alternative characteristics of an adventure card when trying to cast it. And now that we've considered the alternative characteristics of adventure cards, which are instant and sorcery cards, Lier's effect can also consider those for casting. So because the rules of adventure allow you to consider the alternative set of characteristics of it, and the effect of Lier allows you to cast those alternative characteristics from the graveyard legally, those alternative characteristics replace the object's characteristics for this determination. So now that we've considered Mesmeric Glare to be cast, the characteristics for Mesmeric Glare replaces the characteristics of Hypnotic Sprite in the graveyard when we're making this consideration. And then continuous effects that would apply to that object once it has those characteristics are also considered, which Lier's continuous effect that can give that card flashback will also be considered and give that card flashback. Even after all of this, I know people are going to say I'm wrong, but